know if this is on. Okay. Hi, guys.
Maya.
I want to thank you guys first before I start anything. Just to say thank you for being here today. It is not an easy day. It's not an easy week. I know it's cold, but tragedy does not stop because of the weather, and change should not either. But I'm Manuel. I'm a student at Michigan State University studying psychology with minors in law, justice, and public policy, and youth and society. On February 13th, my university, Michigan State, faced the harsh reality that many of us prepared our whole lives for. 5 students were injured and 3 lost their lives. Their absence not only leaves a void in our institution, but the countless family members and loved ones who were impacted by this devastating tragedy. Brian, Ariel, and Alexandria, I've begun this work to preserve a legacy for you. Describing my emotions remains an ongoing challenge. I don't have the proper words to share yet, and I still have much to process. Throughout the year, I sincerely hope you have all found the time to begin healing within an overwhelming tragedy. Healing looks different for all of us, but I'm proud to be here standing with you today as we continue our journey to make change together. It might not mean much coming from a stranger like myself, but I love everything you represent, and I cherish the fact that none of us have to face this alone today. I know it has been a tough year for many of us, and it is normal to feel feelings of anger, confusion, frustration, and denial. Just a year ago today, I stood on these Capitol steps with you, unsure of what would come from our collective efforts. When I met Lauren, an Oxford teacher who I now hold so dearly in my heart, her initial words that struck me were, "It's unfortunate to meet you, but I'm glad to be here with you today." These words linger in my mind. It reminds me that we shouldn't have to be in this position, and I'm sorry that we are. Ryan Bates, who is now my current boss with End Gun Violence Michigan, once mentioned that our work as a single stitch in a gaping wound. This community acted as the thread that mended my fractured sense of purpose. It's unfortunate that we share this sorrow, but I am grateful for each one of you. Last year, with its challenges, holds a dear significance to me. February 13th now bears a heavy weight in my heart, as it does for many of us. Last year at this time, I was also just a student. I wasn't affiliated with any organizations on campus. I was simply just working towards my degree. I asked the following questions, and as I asked them, please raise your hand. Raise your hand if you have ever experienced a lockdown drill sometime in your lifetime. Keep your hands up if you have experienced a lockdown drill before the age of 18, the age of 12, and the age of 6. While students are learning their ABCs in multiplication, students are also learning how to run, hide, and fight. We have become experts in preventing the reality that we feared for so long. Today, I urge you to listen. Put your phone down. Lock arms with your neighbors. I don't want to be in this position. I'm grateful for the swift action you were able to take last year after we held these events. So real quick, if you are a legislator or a lawmaker in the crowd, just please stand up. Please stay standing if you are willing to continue to fight with us. Stay standing if you are willing to be a hero today. I thank you, but I want to remind you that no child should endure the fear of an unpredictable reality at the hands of politicians and lawmakers, especially lawmakers who don't want change. Fight for those who don't want to listen. As your constituent, I am begging you to acknowledge my needs. You do not just fight for those in your direct community. You fight for those in every community. You fight for humanity, for what is right. It is not your job to pick and choose what matters to you. Tragedy of any kind is unbearable, heartbreaking, body aching, and horrifying. We cannot compare the traumas of violence. They all leave lingering pain. Our ears ache with bad news. Our hearts shake with heaviness. I'm tired, but I would be a coward if I didn't stand up and ask you to try your best to get us out of this hell. I would be a coward if I pick and chose what realities I fought for today. I would be a coward if I let you look at me as I relive the feelings and the fear of February 13th and I didn't ask for change. I would be a coward if I pick and chose where remembrance and reflection matters. It matters in all lights, in all walks of innocent life, and I can't beg anymore. The deadline for change is today. Please show me what you can do and prove me wrong. Don't wait for another tragedy to make change. Growing up in a lockdown generation, it has taught me that the normalization and desensitization to tragedy is a dangerous game. The truth be told, as we cannot pick and choose what realities matter to us, where we will fight and how we will do it. Our kids will one day ask why we were the villains of the past. And I ask many of you today, why did you let it get this bad? How did we get here? In 2023, there were 656 mass shootings. You have to use your platforms to make change. Communities have been struck in countless parts of our country, and fear has plagued children, families, and loved ones globally. The fear that notifications, sirens, and phone calls could mean bad news has not left my heart. How many children have to face this reality? Please raise your hand if you have children. Please raise your hand if you have siblings. As we reflect and remember, the painful truth is that we cannot selectively choose which violence matters to us. Every act of violence, whether close or far, demands our collective fight for innocent lives globally. How many can raise your hands with me and agree that innocent life matters? Today, I want to shed light on the adolescence of my 12-year-old cousin, very similar to ours. As we grew up awaiting tragedy, she awaits the day where she will have to run, hide, and fight. Her mother awaits the pain and tragedy that might come with their reality. You see, my cousin is young. She is also a student who practices lockdown drills. However, she is not an American citizen, but a Lebanese one, residing with my entire maternal family in Lebanon, where the fear of what comes next hangs over their lives like a dark cloud. The echoes of countless bombs have already reverberated through their villages, turning their homes into battlegrounds. They did not ask for this, and this is not their fault. I fear every day that I may receive the wrong phone call. Recently, I have begun living the nightmare that seems to replay the same feelings of anguish and fear that I experienced on February 13th. Waiting for news of my family's safety has become a relentless ordeal. The surreal nature of my situation hit me when I watched on national television bombs surround my grandparents' home. On national television, surrounding my grandparents' home, before I could hear it directly from them. It is a stark reminder that violence and the violence that my family endures is a tragic reality. Their village has witnessed the destructive force of countless bombs, leaving their shattered windows as tangible scars of the physical devastation they feel. Yet the true devastation lies in the shattered hearts of my family members as they face a new fracture every day. Today I stand with you to remember the 3 innocent lives we lost on February 13th, the 120 we lose to gun violence daily, the millions of Americans who now know someone who has been taken by us due to gun violence, suicide, community violence, domestic violence, school shootings, whatever that might be. We cannot fall back and wait for another tragedy to make change. It is simply not fair to those who cannot stand up anymore. We use our voices when others can't. This is not about the side that you choose to be on. This is simply about innocent life, humanity. A shooter does not care if you are a Republican or a Democrat. We cannot pick and choose which lives matter, and we must fight for every innocent life. It is our jobs to reduce the amount of pains families have to endure, near or far. If you stop yourself at political limits, then you never had the capacity for a humanitarian one. And this means that you do not deserve a seat. You do not deserve power if you can't turn our pain into your passion, and passion into a position. To the innocent civilians enduring strife in all corners of the world, I apologize for not doing more to save you. The next generation of youth, the next lockdown generation, I apologize that you must bear the burden of being trained for change in a world that should prioritize peace but has not. We must channel our collective grief, anger, and empathy into relentless advocacy and action. The struggle for a safer, more compassionate world must transcend borders as we stand united against indiscriminate gun violence that continues to afflict innocent lives. We are capable of change. We are all capable of change. To stand out here, whether it's snowing or raining, tragedy does not stop at the weather. I cannot carry this weight alone. Our families cannot. So I'm here to lift you up. And for those who offered friendship and formed this supportive community for me, I'm forever thankful for you. Words fall short in expressing my gratitude and love for each of you. You hold a unique place in my heart. I will not stop fighting until this epidemic ends. Brian, Ariel, Alexandria do not deserve for us to fall silent. Our 5 survivors do not deserve for us to step down when they need us the most. We fight when others can't. It is simple. I am exhausted. I'm truly exhausted. But it is worth every law. It is worth every life and every reality that we will change. Though I am tired, when you tell me to step back, I will soon question why you will not step in. In honor and remembrance, I stand for you all, and I sincerely hope you choose to join me. Thank you for allowing me to lead with light in dark times. We got those damn bills passed. We got those bills passed, but we can't stop. We can't stop now. I don't want to be in my position 30 years from now, looking at the next 20-year-old and saying, I'm sorry that I didn't do enough to stop this. When I'm learning how to swim, you are experts, and within that, teach me. Today, I want to smile. I want to look at you and see your beautiful faces once again just 1 year later. You mean the world to me, seriously. You mean the world to us. I love you all so dearly. And remember that we are stronger together. Please don't forget, don't lose sight, and please make change. Thank you.
Bravo! 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 Hallelujah!
Hi everyone, my name is Sailor Reinders, and I'm the co-leader of Students Demand Action at MSU. Thank you all for being here today, as we remember and reflect on the tragedy that took place on MSU's campus 1 year ago. I want to start by taking a moment to honor the lives of the 3 Spartans who were killed on February 13th, 2023. Ariel Anderson, Alexandria Werner, and Brian Frazier. As we stand here today, we hold them in our hearts along with their loved ones and the 5 other students who were shot and wounded that night. This tragedy should never have happened, and while we can never take away that hurt, we can and will honor them with action every single day. Since the shooting, I have felt so many different emotions, as I'm sure many of my fellow Spartans have. Anger, sadness, grief, confusion. No words can really describe what the past year has been like. But I can say that despite the anger, sadness, grief, confusion, and just trying to be a college student, we never stopped showing up. I'm proud of the tireless work of students who showed up right here at the Capitol a year ago and every day since to demand change. Our work, along with the support of advocates across the state, led to 4 new gun safety bills being signed into law.
Bravo! Woo! Bravo!
But while I'm grateful for those changes, I'm also angry that they didn't happen sooner. So today I stand here again asking our lawmakers to continue to take action and enact meaningful change. This week has given me many reminders of why I continue to fight. We honored and grieved for our university, and the next day for the school mass shootings that took place at Marjory Stoneman Douglas and Northern Illinois University. But we can't even properly mourn these tragedies without more shootings taking place. It's incomprehensible that people can't go to a Super Bowl parade in Kansas City, Missouri, or students can't go to school in Atlanta, Georgia, without facing the nightmares of gun violence. It's everywhere. It's all the time. We can't escape it. And those tragedies just scratch the surface, because in America, someone is feeling the weight of losing a loved one to gun violence every day. While I grieve for the shootings that make headlines, I also think about the gun violence we don't hear about. 120 Americans die every day from gun violence, and guns are the leading cause of death for children, teens, and college-aged Americans. We can't accept this as normal. I refuse to let future generations grow up like we have, living in constant worry that any day could be their last. I've said before and I'll say it again, it doesn't have to be this way. We don't have to die like this. To my fellow Spartans, I hope that you are able to sit with your emotions this week, whatever they may be. They are valid no matter what your experience was and continues to be. I wish for all of us that we didn't have to be in this position, but here we are. Let's use our power for good, for love, for change. I've learned that we cannot endure this alone. Today, let's tell our legislators what this cause means to us. In the days ahead, let's educate our friends and families, and in a week and a half, go out and vote in the primaries. Together, we are powerful and can be a force for change. To our gun sense legislators, thank you. Thank you for listening to us. It's because of our work together that we've been able to make massive changes in the years since the shooting at MSU. All we want is to continue building on this momentum with you. And to the lawmakers who, even after being confronted with the devastating consequences of having weak gun laws, still voted against the gun violence prevention bills last year, you've shown us time and time again that you will continue to prioritize the gun lobby over Michigan students. We won't wait for another mass tragedy to strike. Moms, students, and advocates across the state worked for 10 years to pass those laws, and I do not want to wait another 10 to see more change. There's still a lot of work to do here before we fully address gun violence in Michigan, so let's not waste another moment, and I'll see you all inside. Thank you.
Bravo!
Hi everyone. My name is Joe Kovach, and 1 year ago today, I was the student body president at Michigan State University.
Hi everyone, my name is Emily Hoyampa, and I'm the current student body president here at Michigan State University. 1 year ago today, many of us sat here just a couple of days after a loss we should have never experienced. The loss of security, of who we were mere days before, and the loss of three of our fellow Spartans, Ariel, Alex, and Brian. There is no blueprint on how to be a student leader, but there is especially no guidance to lead after a university, the place many of us call home, experiences an act of violence that should have never happened in the first place. Alex Werner was 20 years old and was from Clawson, Michigan. She was a junior studying integrated biology and anthropology, set to graduate this year. She dreamed of being a forensic scientist. She spent her high school years as a leader in her community and is a talented athlete, dominating in softball, volleyball, and basketball. The court where she played volleyball and basketball was renamed to honor her this past September. Alex was loved by everyone who knew her, known as one of the kindest and most genuine people you could have ever met. She was a quiet go-getter with an infectious smile. Her senior quote said, "Do your best to make tomorrow better." Ariel Diamond Anderson was 19 years old and from Harper Woods, Michigan, a graduate of Grosse Pointe High School. She wanted to become a pediatrician and dedicate her life to helping others. She made a memorable mark on her community, joining student council and National Honor Society, as well as mentoring freshmen coming into her high school. She loved dancing to Ariana Grande, reading, and most of all, she loved her mom, Dawana Davis. Ariel was extremely driven, a junior by credits, and set to graduate early to begin accomplishing her goals. Ariel loved photography, having her work featured in the Charles H. Wright Museum of African American History. She loved concerts, her family, and Michigan State. Brian Frazier was 20 years old and from Grosse Pointe Park, Michigan. He was the president of Pi Delta Theta fraternity at Michigan State University, and is remembered as a leader. He was a longtime athlete and lifeguard who lived his life full of love. He was compassionate, caring, and well-rounded. Brian enjoyed laughing and having fun with family and friends. He was majoring in both business and economics, always seeming to love picking up more responsibilities. His high school swimming coach says that Brian had a sense of humor that could light up the pool deck and bring in laughter to his entire team. There was never a dull moment in his presence, and he was a role model to so many people.
Last year we sat here and we asked our lawmakers to do anything to make this loss feel like it could never happen to anyone else, to make this pain into something that could change lives for the better, and they delivered. On April 14th in Spartan Stadium, Governor Whitmer signed the first of 4 pieces of foundational gun violence prevention laws in the wake of our pain that would advance gun safety in our beautiful state. We can acknowledge the work. Thank you. We can acknowledge the work that has been done in the wake of our tragedy. However, there is still so much work left to do. Each year in the state of Michigan, an average of 1,382 people die by firearm. Until that number is 0, there is still work to be done. When Shoot First or Stand Your Ground laws are still on the books that take an additional 150 people a year on average, there is work to be done. When guns can be openly carried into sensitive spaces to intimidate others, like at the Capitol or at a demonstration, there is work to be done. As long as there are not strict laws in place, mass funding for social services to prevent violence in communities historically ravaged by firearms, and as long as guns can still make it into the wrong hands, there is still work to be done. Here's the beautiful thing about this movement. Look around you. Every single person here today is here because they are ready to put in the work it takes to make a world free from gun violence. Not only are all of you here to put in the work, but you are also here to stand in support of one another, to make sure that people can never be taken away from us the way Ariel, Alex, and Brian were. Take care of yourselves, and I hope you take the time to get to know the people here with you today. After all, Spartans are stronger together. Go green.
Go white.
Hello, I'm Rani Asava. I'm a junior studying social relations and policy with a minor in peace and justice. A year ago today, I stood on these very steps begging and pleading for the world to hear the direct impacts of a mass shooting. The impacts that MSU students had to endure that are not portrayable in the media due to the constant desensitization of gun violence in America. A lot has happened within the year while simultaneously so little has changed. Many of us don't have the privilege to only pay remembrance on the 1-year anniversary because that night has haunted our thoughts for the last 365 days. Within the last 365 days, some of our most traumatic experience has been used as clickbait for the media, the butt of a joke, or an inappropriate conversation started by a stranger. In the last 365 days, I felt pressure to compare my healing progress with my peers, making me question my sanity because if the world is able to forget so quickly, then why can't I? Our feelings have been invalidated with every impractical, unrealistic solution supported by gun enthusiasts, leaving students and children to pay the price for their ineffective solutions. Within these 365 days, it's felt as though we've been screaming for help only to be choked by the words, "How many more?" Michigan State was the 67th mass shooting in 2023, and we had to relive that night through the next 589 mass shootings that soon occurred after it, making our life-altering experience nothing but a single statistic in a mix of tragedies. In the last 365 days, Spartans have displayed the strength that was demanded of us, and will continue because our pain lasts longer than what's trending on the news. Gun violence is a product of our current gun policies. Until there is change, more students and children are going to be stripped of the opportunity not only to learn, but to live. Another person's rights end where my life begins. It's time to demand America take accountability for their reckless gun laws. Through our stories, our votes, our strength, we can prevent gun violence. For it's the least we can do for Brian, Alexandra, and Ariel, the 5 students who were injured, and the other 50,000 MSU students. Thank you.
My name's Elisa Hakim. I'm a senior at MSU. This time last year, I reflected on the way my people, Arabs and Muslims, and so many other communities have endured so much violence, much worse than I could ever imagine. I spoke about this in the last sit-down protest, remembering what my own family has endured in Lebanon before I was born and when I was young. We cannot deny that gun violence causes effects that ripple. All the pain and hurt we felt last year and we feel now will rise again. It will bubble up under the surface in ways we won't be able to recognize. It takes form in the tension in our traps and a clenching in our jaws. It releases when we flinch at loud noises or when our eyes dart back and forth as we walk in the dark. The sadness is in the winces every time we pass by Berkey Hall in the Union and in the unconscious grinding of our teeth. Ideas of somatic memory say that trauma is held in the body. Trauma creates biological changes not just in one person but in generations to come. And one day our pain will become bearable and skin toughening. It will light flames of resilience and soften our hearts towards one another and towards the world. This resilience will take life in our future generations. The trauma I and so many of us have is generational. It goes beyond February 13th as we absorb the traumas of our parents, grandparents, and ancestors. The Arab experience holds true to this as my peers and I leave our home countries to find fresh starts full of peace and hope. Visions of a new life were shattered in an act of senseless violence on our campus. The dreams of beautiful futures were ripped apart and now we pick up the pieces. But we are lucky to have the ability to put those pieces back together in a community of love and care, a community that grows closer and closer the more we advocate together. Nonetheless, while we stand here, while we call for gun reform and an end to the violence that takes away our laughs and smiles, senseless acts continue to happen around the world. In Palestine, so many people, elders, young adults, teenagers, toddlers, babies, and newborns, face much more than I could ever imagine. It's felt like February 13th for the past 5 months as the genocide in Palestine worsens and violence spreads to countries like my own Lebanon, like Yemen and Syria. I feel the intensifying beat in my chest and the overpowering weight in my shoulders. I have the same shakiness in my legs and trouble catching my breath as I did last year. Last year, locked away in a barricaded bedroom, listening to the police scanner, praying for it to be over. I was in total shock, checking on friends and getting bombarded with messages from my family. I didn't know what to expect as my friends and I heard changing numbers of how many gunmen there were, where they were moving, and how they were moving. I thought that any moment could be the end. And as we speak here today, that's the reality of Arab families in the Middle East. It is a reality of never knowing what can happen next and always being at the risk of death. It hits us here in America because it's felt like it was February 13th yesterday when a massacre occurred in my grandmother's village, the Nabatiye, killing 11 people, an entire family. A bomb hit right across my family's house. It felt like it was February 13th months ago when my grandfather heard bombs dropping as he tended to his olive trees in his village of the Dire. It was February 13th in January when my aunties told me about a bomb that hit Beirut. They visited that exact same location that very morning. Arabs, Muslims, and the rest of us bear witness to horrific images we can't unsee and relive the same emotions we felt before. And again, that is only by bearing witness. I want to leave you all with a quote by Lebanese architect Moussa Mamri. Life has taught me that this world will not cease Life has taught me that this world will not cease to continue moving after my death, and that the earth will not stop spinning, nor does the sun stop shining. This means that the world will not stop moving with or without my existence. I don't mean this to say that my existence makes no difference. I mean that I should serve the eternal goal for which I was born. I should fulfill the predestined plan Almighty God has drawn for my life. Only then can I say the world was better because I lived in it. We have the power to make the world better for the sake of our lives and for the sake of Alexandria, Brian, and Ariel. We can do justice for them, for the life of 6-year-old Wadia Al-Fayoumi murdered in a hate crime by his mother's landlord, and for the lives of Hind Rajab, a 5-year-old girl deliberately killed in Gaza by the Israeli occupation, her family that was murdered, and the medics killed for trying to save them. We can live our lives with the over 25,000 Palestinians murdered in our hearts. We cannot advocate for ourselves without acknowledging and understanding the way all gun violence, whether done by one person or by an imperial military, is interconnected. As members of a global community, we are all interconnected. So when we say there needs to be an end to gun violence, we mean gun violence everywhere for everyone. Thank you.
On February 13th, we huddled in fear and we cried. We mourned and we grieved the lives of 3 individuals forever lost but not forgotten. We mourned and grieved for the 5 students who were shot and critically injured, Ariel, Brian, and Alex. We honor them, and though they may be gone, they will never be forgotten. We want to honor them and say more than just their name, but who they were and how they greatly impacted their communities. Ariel, Brian, and Alex deserve to be remembered for the loving people they were and the lives they touched. Ariel was a sophomore at Michigan State, grew up in Harper Woods, and graduated from Grosse Pointe. She was motivated by her dream to be a pediatric surgeon and on track to graduate early from MSU. She liked photography and making YouTube videos and vlogs of her life. She was academically driven but had a creative eye. Her mom said that she was like an angel on earth and was always very helpful to others.
Brian was a sophomore at Michigan State and grew up in Grosse Pointe. He was president of his fraternity, Phi Delta Theta, and studied business and economics. His friends described him as one of the most funniest and caring people they had ever met. He was a leader not only in his fraternity, but in life and his greater community. His dad described his smile as contagious and that it could immediately lift everyone's spirits. Alex was a junior at Michigan State and grew up in Clawson. She studied forensic science and was a 4-point student. She was always a team player and made a lasting impact on her high school basketball team. Her athletic director says they now use the term "play like Al" to describe her competitive spirit and how she played with all her heart. Her mom describes her as having a very gentle and kind spirit. Ariel, Brian, and Alex deserve to be known for more than just their names. They deserve to be known more than just February 13th. They deserve to be known for the people they were and the positive impact they had on those around them. Say their names and do not let them be forgotten. These 3 amazing individuals were killed because of the recklessness and evil of someone else.
Our movement is called Gun Violence Prevention for a reason. It's all about taking action before tragedy strikes and reducing easy access to guns for those who shouldn't have them. It's an important part of preventing school shootings and daily gun violence. Securely storing guns plays a crucial role when it comes to keeping our generation protected from preventable violence. As we've continued to honor the lives of 3 Spartans who were killed, people all across Michigan and the country have stood in solidarity with us. And every day since we've refused to let tragedy define us, Ariel Anderson, Alexandria Werner, and Brian Fraser should be alive today. It shouldn't have taken their lives being gunned down for people to say, enough is enough.
We are disappointed by the MSU administration for their actions, for not listening to student protests of the reopening of Berkey Hall, and for receiving no acknowledgement from the Office of the President via email. We ask the MSU administration to do better, to follow through on the promises they made for better security and surveillance cameras, for locks inside all classrooms. We demand progress and responsibility, and for the MSU administration's words to match their actions, for them to include student voices and perspectives, and to focus on preventative actions, not just remedial ones. Following through on these tasks is the bare minimum, and we beg for change. While we are glad that some changes have been made at MSU and at the state level, there is still so much more to go, and so many more promises that have still yet to be fulfilled. If there is anything you take away from today, let it be in the power that your voice holds. Let it be known that it is not by your actions or your words, but just by being the person that you are. Just existing each day is enough, and you are enough. There is this expectation that in the face of adversity, we must be strong.
but that is not necessarily true. We do not have to be strong to be a Spartan, but we will always and forever be Spartan strong.
Yeah! Woo! Go Braves! Go Braves!
Hi, my name is Joseph Kesto, and I stand before you as the current president of March for Our Lives' MSU chapter. As we come together, let us remember why we are here, united in our resolve and determination to make a change. A year ago today, I was on the Capitol steps advocating for a cause that touches each of our lives deeply, a cause fueled by our collective desire for safety. February 13th marks a somber anniversary for all of us. On this day, we lost 3 precious lives to gun violence, a pain that words can scarcely describe. These are not just numbers, they were individuals with dreams, with families, with stories. Their loss is a stark reminder of the urgency of our mission. Since that tragic day, we have made strides in our fight against gun violence. In Michigan, we were able to pass 2 significant bills aimed at curbing this epidemic. These victories are a testament to what we can achieve when we stand together, when we raise our voices, and when we demand action and change. However, let us not lose sight of the reality that these achievements, though significant, are merely the beginning of our journey. There's still an immense amount of work to be done, and our victories in Michigan are steps in the right direction. But they are just that, steps. The road ahead is long, and our fight is far from over. We must continue to push for change, not just in Michigan, but across our nation and the world. I am profoundly grateful to have a voice in this movement, a privilege I do not take lightly. It is my promise to you and to the memory of those we've lost to never stop advocating for a world where no one else has to endure such unspeakable tragedy. Alexandria, Ariel, and Brian, whose lives were cut tragically short, will forever live in our hearts. They and the countless others we've lost to gun violence are the reason we march, the reason we speak, and the reason we do not give up. Our mission extends beyond our borders, reaching out to places where innocence is lost in the shadow of conflict. The flight of millions in Gaza, losing their lives and their voices to violence, calls for our attention and action. It reminds us that our fight is not just local, it is global. Our advocacy for peace, for the right to live without fear, knows no boundaries. Today we stand on change. With every step we take, with every law we pass, and with every life we honor, we move closer to a world where gun violence is not the norm. A world where our children can grow up in communities that nurture, not harm. Let us carry forward the names of Alexandria, Ariel, and Brian, not as symbols of our sorrow, but as beacons of our resolve. Let their memories fuel our march towards a future where such tragedies are but distant memories. To everyone here today, your presence is a powerful statement. It is a declaration that we will not be silenced, we will not be deterred, and we will not rest until our streets, our schools, and our communities are safe for all. Thank you for standing with me, for lending your voices to this cause, and for marching together towards a brighter, safer tomorrow. Together we will continue to fight. Together we will make a difference. Thank you.
Hi everybody, my name is Bianca Algon. I am a senior at Michigan State, majoring in Arts and Humanities, and I wrote a poem for today. Grief is omnipresent. It follows you wherever you go, no matter how far you go. 2 weeks after the shooting, I was in the Detroit airport early in the morning, and the sun, rising from the horizon, cast golden rays through the big glass windows, and I felt the stars come crashing down on me until I became a celestial body of gas. A few days later, I ordered a breakfast sandwich at a diner. The sausage, egg, and cheese of it all created a supernova in my chest, threatening to break through my bones and skin and get its cosmic mess all over. One time, I sat on the floor of a bathroom at a sushi restaurant. So wrecked by the black hole looming over my being, I punched my legs and pulled at my own hair while I sobbed until I couldn't anymore. Ariel, Brian, and Alexandria will never watch the sunrise ever again. Their lips will never again part to eat a breakfast sandwich, and the grief that comes with that is almost enough to suck me in. Ariel, Brian, and Alexandria, your names will never be forgotten. Each sunrise I get to witness
each sandwich I have the privilege of eating, each tear that falls from my face is also a reminder of the grief that follows me, but also of the love and resilience that never leaves me. Thank you.
My name is Catherine Harding, and I'm a sophomore at Michigan State University studying political science. This week, I've had the privilege and honor of working with like-minded student leaders to organize the Spartans Together events that have attempted to continuously bring our community together during the anniversary of the tragic violence that occurred on our beloved MSU campus almost a year ago today. While being involved in this daunting process has been cathartic for my own personal healing journey, I keep thinking about how we shouldn't have to do this. We shouldn't have to be standing in front of the Capitol because the violence that took 3 beautiful people should never have happened. And something like this should never happen again. We see on the news almost every day, again and again, people losing their lives to gun violence in America. And I ask, when will it end? What will it take for restricted and comprehensive gun legislation to be put in place so no one has to go through what our community and countless others have? To each and every Spartan, I have seen and been a part of the beautiful ways in which we have come together on February 13th and every day after that to support one another and heal. I know that we will continue to come together, and I know that we will continue to fight for change. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Gabrielle Bain, and like many of you, I proudly call myself a Spartan. Before I begin, I would like to take a moment to acknowledge my dear friend Maya for her unwavering dedication to our community and for bringing us together today. Let's also extend a warm round of applause to each and every one of you for standing up and showing your support. Today, we gather to remember and honor the lives of 3 beautiful souls lost in the tragic events of February 13th last year: Ariel Anderson, Alexandria Werner, and Brian Frazier. While we cannot bring them back, we will never forget them. We will continue to say their names, and we will continue to fight in their honor until we can ensure that every individual can pursue an education without fear for their lives. Looking out at this crowd, I don't see a community shattered by senseless violence. Instead, I see a community united and strengthened by adversity. I am immensely proud and honored to belong to such a resilient and determined community. Despite the tragedy, we have all come together, supporting each other with bravery and courage that continues to inspire. I want to take this opportunity to express my gratitude. Thank you to each and every one of you for your unwavering support. Thank you to the first responders who risked their lives to protect every member of the Spartan family, not just on that fateful night, but every day. Thank you to the doctors and nurses who fought tirelessly to save the lives of our classmates. And thank you to all of you for refusing to let tragedy define us, but instead choosing to let it strengthen us. Now I want to address the changes that have been made since the tragedy. It's disheartening that these measures weren't implemented sooner, but progress has been made. 4 new gun laws took effect on the 1-year anniversary of the MSU shooting. Governor Gretchen Whitmer signed these laws back in May of 2023. The Extreme Risk Protection Order law allows a judge to issue a temporary order to remove weapons from a household, providing individuals in crisis with the support they need before they harm themselves or others. Michigan is expanding universal background checks for all firearm purchases, requiring guns to be properly stored, unloaded, and locked, and instituting a red flag law aimed at preventing guns from falling into the hands of individuals in crisis. In reflecting on this past year, amidst its many trials, this truth remains. The spirit of the Spartan community is unyielding. We have weathered storms, faced adversity, and emerged stronger than ever. This past year has only served to reaffirm what I have always known deep in my heart. We are Spartan strong, united in our resilience, and unwavering in our commitment to each other. Go Green!
Together we can do anything.
We have our little bit of sunshine coming through, so I'd like to just real quick, before I say anything else, just take a moment of silence as we all reflect on what we heard today and how we feel. Remember to take with action, heal with work. So let's take a moment of silence. Just hug your neighbor, shake hands. As we begin to wrap up the event, we are opening up this stage for an open mic for anyone who wants to share anything. There's also going to be an opportunity to speak with our lawmakers directly at 3:30 for those who chose to show up today. Real quick, I would like to say thank you to Saylor and Addie from Students Demand Action. They have done an amazing job of helping put this event together. You know, they came forward, they put the work in, and really couldn't have happened without Saylor or Addie. So just a big thank you to them. I did this alone last year. At the beginning, I made friends by the third event, and we organized together, and now I'm here today, and I don't have to do this alone. So thank you guys. Thank you, Saylor. Thank you, Addie. Thank you, everyone, for the continuous work that you choose to put in, and thank you, Gabby, for being one of the organizers at one of our events last year. These students are truly amazing, and I never have the proper words to thank you guys, but we are here today for a reason, one that we shouldn't be here for, but yeah, I'm going to open up the stage for Saylor to say one thing, and yeah, thank you guys.
Thank you.
Before we open up for open mic, I also want to say that there are some snacks over here provided by Linda from Greater Lansing Moms Demand Action, so thank you to her.
Thank you, Linda.
So feel free to grab those, and if you want to come into the Capitol to meet with legislators with us, we'll meet over here after everyone's done speaking. So thank you all, and thank you, Maya, for everything. Now, if you guys want to do open mic, just line up on the stairs. I know you asked first, so I'll have you go first.
Here, you want to do open mic? You want to raise hands?
So for any of you guys that want to do open mic, I'm going to ask that you guys line up to the right side of me, right over here. Can we just give a round of applause to all the students standing behind me? Alright, well I think we have everyone open and lined up for our open mic, sorry. So we're going to begin that now. If you'd like to go, thank you for being here today. We hope we can stay, but yeah, thank you guys.
Hi guys, I'm Mehek and I'm a sophomore at MSU right now. I didn't really prepare, so whatever I say, it's coming directly from my heart, and I hope that you can listen from yours. It was fifth grade, and I remembered that I had fought with my mom because I wanted the pink iPod, and she wouldn't get it for me. And I came to school, and then suddenly, everyone started running towards a corner. The doors were shut. We were supposed to be away from the windows because windows aren't safe for us anymore, and no one was to say a word. That was my first lockdown drill ever, I didn't know what was going on. Why are we on the side? Why are we hiding? Why are we supposed to be silent? And why are we acting like refugees in the classroom we go to every single day? 2 minutes later, our principal gave an announcement that the lockdown drill is over